I want to take a moment to let you know that I do have a Patreon. You can be a $3 a month, $5 or $10 a month member. $5 and $10 members get all my videos without ads and an audio version if you like to listen while you're multitasking, working, or whatever. $10 members actually get a free copy of my first book, Rational Answers to Stupid Questions. Link is in the description. Enjoy the video.
I believe in the Christian God, if that's about as specific I guess I can get.
Fair enough. What'd be like the most compelling evidence or argument for the Christian God being real?
That randomness, if randomness morphs into order, it was never random.
Well, are you under the impression that that order can't come from randomness?
Yes.
Why?
If order comes from randomness, it was never random.
Well, I disagree.
So then,
Yeah, how does that follow?
How can randomness be order?
Well, you're the one that says it can't be. Well, I'm just
Right.
asking how does that
The
follow?
opposite. What the
So,
randomness is that it's not order. Correct?
This bottle seems
No.
pretty random, right?
No, actually seems very organized.
What?
No, the beads were randomized, and because physics happened, when they stopped being shaken, they sorted, which is order, right? So the physics that like are in our universe is what can take things that are what we would call disordered and
Here's
create
a proof
order.
of that. If you had that bottle buried in some sort of cryogenic chamber or something that was discovered, that somebody finding that would be an indication or an evidence of something.
Okay.
Which is an identification.
Don't change
order.
the subject to watchmaker
Not changing the
analogies.
subject. You
Yes,
said
you
the
are.
Yeah, he's
bottle-
definitely pivoting hard already.
You went to the watchmaker analogy. Randomness can absolutely produce. Well, I don't know what you mean
Are
by
you two on a team? Who am I debating?
both of us.
You're clearly
Oh,
having a
you guys are,
conversation
you
with
guys
with
are
two of us, and so we're not a hive mind. There's no such thing as a
actors. You guys are.
hive mind. So first of all, we haven't even determined what's even happening here, whether or not we're having a conversation or a debate, or whether or not you're just crashing out and running. Oh, that's what's happening. He's crashing out and running.
Man, I wanted to talk about that because there's a lot to unpack that randomness can't create order. Well, a system that begins with in a random state, like the bottle thing you showed there, can absolutely produce order if there is some sort of sorting or selecting mechanism. The laws of physics I've seen those things before where it's like alcohol and salt water. Those are really cool. That can do it. Gravity can cause the initial sort of random and homogeneous distribution of matter to coalesce into stars and galaxies. Natural selection. So, but I don't know. I think he was a talking point generator. And I don't think he could discuss anything. I think he could just say things.
Yeah, actually, I think that was the case. I think he came up with talking points, and he wanted to rattle off his talking points.
Yep.
But
What I found is the Red Sea, just like this, the story of Noah. They found chariots of Egyptians, Israelites in that sea. And if
Wow,
you
that-
go to
that
the
is
beach
remarkable.
as well,
who found
if you
it?
go to the beach as well, archaeologists.
What's their name?
I can't remember his or her name off the top of my head. I remember
Well,
reading about it when I wanted to get into Christianity. Or when
Where
I
did you read about it?
and researched it. Honestly, I couldn't tell you that either because it was a while that I read that. I should probably have it like on the top of my head for moments like this. But if you do a simple Google search, like it'll show you. And also
we know.
that
Yeah,
the
we're quite aware of how Google works. If you did a Google search, you would see that a man named Ron Wyatt, who wasn't an actual archaeologist, made up this entire fictitious claim about the Ark being found, or also the claim that the Ark of the Covenant was found, or the claim that you're espousing, which is that there are chariot wheels at the bottom of the Red Sea, all of which come from one man who was a charlatan, and there's not a single shred of archaeological evidence that would demonstrate any of his claims. and he's gone. Wow.
Well, to be fair, Ron Wyatt was a nurse, which, where was I going with this? He really did find all that stuff.
His live the other day, and he was urging you to come up to voice, and you were afraid to go up to voice. Why are you afraid to speak to him? Why do
Legit
you
have
always
no
run
idea
away
who
from him?
you're referring to.
Yeah, Darth Dawkins.
I've not been in a Darth Dawkins live for probably 3 months.
You were in there because I remember when I was in the
No,
live,
I wasn't.
saw you in there. Yes,
Catholic,
I
you're
saw your
probably
name in there.
confusing Justin for me, because Darth is always going around saying that I'm too afraid to debate him.
Yeah, you're
I
all afraid of
I
Darth.
literally talked to him today, and he kicked me out after 5 seconds.
Yeah, you're all afraid of Darth because what you'll do.
Nobody's
is if
afraid
you
of
do go
Darth.
up in-
Nobody's
if you
afraid.
do
The
go
only
up
people
into
that should be
voice,
afraid of
then
him
what
are
you'll
his wife
do
and
is you'll
kids.
troll instead of having a mature conversation, and obviously he's not going to go ahead.
Darth
and
has
leave you
had
in
a
the
mature
voice if
conversation
you're
in
gonna
his
troll.
life, which
He's
is
never
why
had
you're
a-
up here crying on my live stream defending your daddy.
So
All,
of you are
if-
all
afraid of
Darth does is
So if you-
filibuster.
Yeah, not any of
That's
you
really
are
all
able
there
to
is to
debate
it.
Darth. That's why you all run away from him. Now,
Nobody
I
can
easily
debate
prove
Darth
that God
because
exists.
Darth
So,
won't let
with regards
anyone.
to everything that you
Catholic,
perceive to
DM
So
him
the
right now and
Notice
tell him to
everybody,
come
now they're
up.
mute.
He will gladly be brought up.
woke cancel code.
So
What?
Darth did
Can't
come
say
to
that.
my live stream, and he
Well,
only
cancel
lasted
call.
for about 30 seconds.
Notice everyone needs.
And the reason why
This is a tactic.
people like you don't
censorship.
actually get to have good conversations is because you think that you own our spaces. Like you think you get to come into our spaces and take them over.
Atheist-
And that's not how that works, because
Woke
in our spaces we
Woke cancel
tend to
culture.
have like real conversations
Repent or
with
perish.
actual adults, and you don't actually qualify as
Repent or
one.
perish.
Is this a
No
mature
one's afraid.
So here's the
conversation
fact
in
of the
your
matter
mind,
is, notice
Catholic?
everybody that every single time I
He
said,
can't
okay, I
hear
can prove
anything
God,
we're
he was
saying.
muting
He
me.
can't-
Notice that.
He'll never have a
So I
conversation
prove
because he
God
can never
right
shut
now,
up.
But notice they're not going to allow.
So the reason why we
They
can't have a
won't allow you to-
conversation with you is because you won't let us
this is-
talk on our own
Won't allow you-
stream. So the
Censorship.
Censorship.
All censorship.
okay, we had enough of that clown. It's crazy that they think that they're going to come up and literally take over somebody else's live stream and not get kicked for it.
Couldn't answer his question. What is the sum essence of all reality in your worldview?
I don't know what that means. He's never asked
Exactly.
me that, though.
He's asked something like that.
No, not with me.
Yeah. If you're fallible, you don't have a perfect revelation. How can you explicitly say there's no ultimate reality?
Wait, isn't Darth fallible?
Yeah, but not the Bible,
How do you know that?
because it says it.
You
have to have a-
unironically believe that as a justification?
Yes, you have to have an infallible source of knowledge.
How do you know that your source is infallible? Well, I already asked that because it says so, right? Well, how do you know that what it says is true?
It self-declares that it is infallible. You have to have
Okay,
something
I self-declare
infallible.
that I am infallible. Now what?
I pin you against the Bible and billions of...
The Bible is
believers.
false. And I know that because I'm infallible and I am making this statement. I cannot make fallible statements. Therefore, the Bible is false.
Science fixes itself all the time.
I never said anything about science. The problem I have with this, only the Christian worldview can be the grounding for, truth claims and whatever. I would say that the Christian worldview obliterates even the possibility of having any kind of objective knowledge. You can presuppose it, and what's really annoying is the way people pretend that what you presuppose is what is absolutely true. But no, the Christian worldview obliterates the possibility of any kind of objective knowledge. Do you want to know why that is?
Sure.
Okay. All you have to do is answer this one question. Can you know that the devil is deceiving you?
No.
There you go. So that obliterates the possibility of objective knowledge. You can presuppose it. I presuppose that my eyes are giving me accurate information about the world. Now, is it possible that unicorn queef dust is altering all of the photons that hit my eye and scrambling them and creating an inaccurate image of what's in front of me? Sure. But I don't find that to be a reasonable problem to assume, I guess.
You're just as fallible as I am. So it's your
Yeah,
word
I
versus
think
my
that
word.
all humans have. Well, I wouldn't exactly say that all humans have the same limitations because everybody's born differently. Unfortunately, well, no, I would say it actually is fortunate that we're all different. But like generically speaking, I don't think any human being has any sort of real gift of a proclivity toward less infallibility than anybody else, especially not Darth.
You don't know what's at the end of the universe or before the Big Bang. You
Neither
can't
do
say
you.
there's no God. So you can't say there's no God. You don't have all knowledge.
I didn't say that there is no God. I know the Christian God doesn't exist, but a God could exist.
But you're an atheist. You say there is no God.
No, I don't say that. In fact, I literally just said that that's not the case. I don't believe that God exists, but it could be the case. I don't believe that there's an alien named Brenda, but it could be the case.
There you go. You took a falsifiable claim and you compared it to the God claim. You know they're not the same.
God's existence is unfalsifiable?
Absolutely.
That's just not even true. What if the description of God is a contradiction?
Then that's a wrong description of God. It is the sum essence of God is the sum essence of all reality.
Says
Nothing
who?
cannot exist without there a being called God.
So if every single thing we ever learned until the end of time about God, we were able to later figure out, oh, there's a contradiction, you would just say, oh, well, our definition or our description of God in every single instance has been false, but God still exists. On what grounds are you claiming that God even exists?
Existence
Or are you just saying,
itself.
by definition, there has to be a thing that exists and I call it God?
Existence itself necessitates a God.
Why?
Nothing can exist apart from one, because the universe is going towards a direction. So it needs
No, it isn't.
someone leading that direction.
The universe certainly is not going toward a direction, no.
What caused the Big Bang?
Nobody knows, but that has nothing to do with what you just said. I got to update my scoreboard real quick.
This conversation ain't over.
I know.
Why are you scoring?
But points are being scored. It's like a basketball game. The game isn't over when the score is 1-0.
Right. So yeah, you just haven't defined the sum essence of all reality. In your worldview, it fails.
I don't know if there is. I don't know. I could agree that there may be one, but I don't know what it is. My worldview hasn't failed. Not knowing something doesn't mean I have a failed worldview. I'm just not dishonest enough to say that I know that something that by even your own admission, it's possible we never, ever come to a coherent description of it, but I will just still declare that it exists. I'm incapable of being that dishonest.
Oh, it's not just dishonest. It's just observation. Existence
When did you observe God?
necessitates existence, the works of God. We observe the God's works.
You don't know. You don't
Existence.
know. You don't know that because you said you can't know if you're being deceived by Satan. So you have no idea if you're observing God's works or not.
Absolutely. He can't deceive you on everything. He can deceive you on some things.
What can Satan not deceive you on?
The fact that the universe was created by a deity. That's
Explain to me,
give.
give me the logic behind how it's not possible for Satan to deceive you about that.
It's a form of natural revelation that comes to people who are
So
not
you
even
can't.
believers.
You just have to say that it was revealed to me that God did it and reject that it's possible that Satan is doing it. That's very weak.
That's not what I said.
Those are not the words you said, but that is what you said.
All right. Well, I gotta go.
No, I want you to stay.
Peace.
No.